Princess.
Hi.
So, what are you doing today?
I am hosting my very first podcast. I'm actually a host for the first time and I'm very, very excited. It's called Limitless by Westside.
What is Limitless by Westside?
It's a show that explores what inspires us, that makes us feel seen, heard, and it's also about overcoming your fears, which I'm doing today, which is hosting a podcast, interviewing someone.
So, who are you talking to today?
Today, I'm talking to comedian Uruj Ashfaq. She's been in the comedy space for 8 years now. She started doing open mics in Mumbai in 2016 when she was just in college. Yeah, and last year she won Best Newcomer Comedy Award at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which is crazy. And we're also going to talk about how she has major public speaking fear, which I also go through. We're also going to talk about her new show, which is work in progress, called It's Funny to Me. Uruj! So excited to talk to you, but we have to address the brace in the room.
What brace? There is a this one. Oh yes, this little brace.
What happened to you? I remember you walked in. I'm like, the first thing I look at, I'm like, what the hell happened to you?
Like, why is she broken?
Why? What? Are you all right? What is going on?
I'm fine. I'm actually on really strong painkillers, so I have to say I'm flying. But what happened is a badminton injury. Yes, I was playing badminton.
That's very lame. You have to give me a little more. How it exactly happened?
I wish I could say it happened doing something cool, but I was playing badminton with fellow comedians, and in my team was Biswa, who really worked me up by saying that we have to win, हमें जीतना पड़ेगा ये वाला. So it was the last game, and so I was really I was taking shots. There was no need to take. मतलब वो shuttlecock court के बाहर जा रहा था. I could have let it go, but I leapt for it, and so because I leapt with my right hand, I lost balance, so I broke it with my wrist, and then my wrist was like, I can't take it, so then my elbow broke it. It's a muscle injury though. It looks a lot more.
Your hands not broken.
No. I'm fine though.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
No,
How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm actually very excited. This is my first podcast. You're my first guest.
Yay!
And I'm so excited to talk to you because we've never really had a conversation in life.
No.
We've only bumped into each other. And I was very excited. I'll finally get to be friends with you.
Yay! I'm so glad. I know everything about you, by the way, from the internet.
And I know everything about you
Yeah,
from the internet.
correct.
So let's get to know each other in person.
Yes. Let's say the same things we know already.
No. But you won the Best Newcomer Comedy Award at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Yes.
Dude, that's crazy. Firstly, congratulations for that.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
so proud of you.
Thank you. That's really sweet
But
of you.
it says it's a newcomer award.
Yes.
When you've been doing this since 2016.
That's right.
Do you still think you're a newcomer?
No, not at all. I really think I'm a veteran at this point. No, but I mean, it's newcomer in the sense that because it was my first time performing at the festival. So anyone who's performed at the festival for the first time is eligible for the award. But I think that's why it says newcomer. Also, best show is so hard because you're competing with everybody for
Correct.
best show. In newcomer, at least you're competing with newcomers. To be fair, if I think about it, you have also been acting since you were a little baby, and you've been at it for so long, right? But maybe if you had to debut in a new space, then they would say debut.
Yes.
Although I don't know if there's any space left for you to debut.
No,
but yeah,
there
it
is.
would be.
If I do a film now, I think it'll be
They
a
will-
debut film.
They
or
would
a-
consider it that.
Yeah, introducing us. Because you brought this up that I've been doing this since I was I was a child actor.
Yes.
How was your relationship with comedy when you were younger? Because I know that in college, you used to do these open mics with your friend and your fellow comic,
Yes.
Sumaira.
Sumaira, yes.
And she encouraged you, is what I know. So, but your relationship in general, with comedy, how was it? Is something that you thought that you want to do this, even in school or in college, I want to pursue comedy, this is for the long haul. Is this something that you thought before?
I mean, actually, the thing is, Sumaira and I, we were just funny with each other all the time in college. And हम ज़्यादा कुछ पढ़ाई में कुछ हम लोग तीर नहीं मार रहे थे. तो everybody was like, ना तुम दोनों बहुत funny हो, तुम दोनों बहुत funny girls हो, तुम लोग कुछ funny क्यों नहीं करते? And we were like, हमारे क्लासमेट्स हमें बार बार साइकोलॉजी छोड़ने क्यों बोल रहे हैं. ओपन माइक्स तभी शुरू हुए थे in Canvas Laugh Club, and we both would go watch. We were like, it looks tough, but we were like, why don't we try, right? You start and then at some point you can do it. And so we went to an open mic together, and we started pursuing it. It really helped that we started together because you have a partner, and and it's very hard when you start bombing because public humiliation is too painful, right? Like, I can't imagine, like, I mean, you've been performing since you were a kid, so being on a set must also be intimidating.
Set is fine, but like I have major stage fright.
Okay.
And I know that you also do. There was a time where I was going to get an award. I was nominated for an award, and a part of me was hoping I don't get it so that I don't have to go on stage and give a speech. That's how terrified I am.
Did you have to go on stage and give
No.
the speech? You didn't?
I didn't because I didn't win.
Okay, fine.
But a very small part of me was like, अगर नहीं भी मिलता है शायद it's fine. तुम्हें जाके speech नहीं देनी पड़ेगी.
Yeah, this is pros and cons करना पड़ता
मैं
है.
वो I'm that half full water glass girl.
Correct. Yeah, same. I'm also half full water glass girl. We're both half full water glass girls, guys.
But with you, because you said that you have public speaking ka fear.
Yeah.
As a comedian,
Yeah.
when you're on stage and when you're performing in front of, let's say, white people,
Yeah.
they don't get context of your jokes mostly. Sometimes, or there are times when there are these really intimidating people and intimidating group of men in the first row
Yeah.
who are not necessarily okay with a female comedian, as they call them.
Yes.
So how do you deal with bombing on stage? Because I'm sure that, let's be
happens.
honest, it happens.
It happens all
Yeah,
the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
don't
how
worry.
do you deal with that?
Well, okay, first of all, I mean, fear of public speaking, apparently, I've read, fun fact, is number, when they did a survey apparently, and fear of public speaking, number one fear, second fear, death. People en masse are afraid of public speaking more than they're afraid of death, which is so funny. It's like death is way scarier. But I was afraid of public speaking when I started. Being on stage is very scary. And when you bomb initially, it's very scary. But what happens is when you get on, you have to just keep getting on stage. Actually, मेरा फंडा ये है कि funny हम सब हैं. Like, everybody is funny to a varying degree. What stops people from pursuing stand-up, apart from maybe not having the passion for it, is कि वो humiliation जो होता है when you are bombing on stage is what they can't get by. Like, they can't work themselves up to go on stage the next day again and again. You need to be okay with the fact that this is the learning curve, and the learning curve involves humiliation. The learning curve also involves, like you said, white people sometimes, and sometimes it also involves men who don't like you performing, and maybe you can see they're hostile. I've found different ways to cope with a hostile audience or a hostile group of men. Now, the thing is, in the beginning, this would happen a lot more. Abhi, it's better because comedy audience knows what they're coming for and they know what to expect. Itne YouTube videos aa gaye, itne comedy clubs hain ki it's much better, and like audience is more aware and educated. But जब हमने शुरू किया था, जैसे 2016, 2017 में, हमने ऐसे randomly bars में perform करते थे. और वहाँ like लोगों को सुनना भी नहीं है. Now you have to get their attention, or like they need to laugh at your joke, and that would involve like maybe sometimes there would be a group of like 10 boys in the front row who are not interested in what you're saying. So either the joke has to be super tight, or two, you are able to address that they are not interested in you. Because sometimes when you just say ki, I don't think you like me being on stage and I don't think you're enjoying, they sort of look and they're like, oh yeah, and then you're like, yeah, but like this is happening, so you want to pay attention.
Do you remember the first time you bombed? Like, how was it? What? Tell me. Because I'm sure it's very funny.
I remember the first time. The first time I killed was the first time I performed, okay, at an open mic. A good open mic at Canvas Laugh Club, because it was hosted by Atul Khatri and he'd done a wonderful job hosting, okay? So, but this is important to know because the downfall is even worse when you've seen the highs. So like the first one was good and I was like, wow, I'm so good at this. This is my like full-time job. Next day, I went to perform at, I think it was a cafe. And nobody gave a shit at the cafe because they wanted to eat. They weren't interested. And the thing is, bombing is one thing. Bombing is when people aren't laughing. Okay. That is what was happening to the other comedians. What was happening when I was performing is that people weren't even looking.
They weren't paying attention.
They were leaving. They were going for their bathroom break. They were eating. And I was like, this is so painful. Because imagine I'm talking right now and you just leave. That's what it was. So that was my first bombing experience.
How did you get over it?
I cried. How do we get over things? I cry about them.
But at a very good show, like where you're very nervous, have you never bombed there?
At a very good show also I've bombed. Just a line-up shows sometimes, when we're doing like line-up shows at a lovely auditorium, audience is excited and like comics are going, they're killing, and now it's your turn and you're like, everything is set up for me. Audience warm hai, अच्छे से बैठे हैं, वो जानते हैं मुझे मेरे लिए आए हैं. But some days you go and you still bomb and you're like, आज क्या हो गया? आज तो मैं सारा practice करके आई थी. But some days it just happens, like maybe you say the wrong thing up top, maybe you start off on the wrong foot with them, maybe you're not feeling it, they're not feeling you, maybe you picked the wrong bit. Maybe everybody was doing a bit that was observational and suddenly you went and started talking about therapy and they're like, yeah, but this is boring. Because sometimes now when you're doing an hour-long show, people can invest emotionally in you and your personality and get involved in your personal stories. Sometimes when you have only 10 minutes with the audience, don't do that. Like, go do something light and come back. So, I bombed like that also.
And you were born in Abu Dhabi.
Yes, Dubai, yes. But
Oh, acha. And then you moved to Mumbai.
Yes.
And Navi Mumbai to be precise.
Yes.
When you were 12. Was there a huge cultural shift for you?
I think there has been cultural shift twice. One was Dubai to Navi Mumbai and then Navi Mumbai to Mumbai. It's also a cultural shift. Actually, the thing is, the main shift, I'll tell you, is that childhood is very different in Dubai and in Mumbai. In Dubai, you have malls. Okay, and you don't really have this concept of नीचे जाके खेलना, which is the best thing ever. Okay, कि नीचे जाके खेल रहे हो, अपनी बाइक चला रहे हो, साइकिल चला रहे हो, जाके अपने फ्रेंड्स के साथ चिप्स खरीद रहे हो, ये सब एलियन था मेरे लिए. दुबई में I was mall baby or parents take me to the park baby or I wear my skates and there is a skating area but you can only go with mummy papa. You're like an apartment baby. And then I moved to Mumbai and I was like, this was a world. मेरी मम्मी ने मुझे खुले सांड की तरह छोड़ दिया था. I was like, मम्मी मैं नीचे जाऊँ. She was like, जाओ. 6 बजे नीचे जाती थी, मैं 11 बजे घर आती थी. Hide and seek खेल लिया, सब कुछ कर लिया. I was like, I've never known freedom like this.
Were you also asked to get like dhania from?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. Go do the errands while you're at it. Go get dhania.
जा रही हो तो धनिया लेके आना, दही ले आना. मेरी मम्मी बड़ा करती थी.
She used to make you do the work.
Like, it's just मुझे खेलने दो.
Mom, I'm trying to have a
धनिया
childhood.
नहीं लेने जाना है मम्मी. So ridiculous. So yeah. When you won Best Newcomer in Comedy Awards at the Edinburgh Fringe.
Yes.
Yay! For your act Oh No last year, you were on stage every month and you said that it was almost like a boot camp.
Yes.
So no matter what mood you were in, you've had like angry shows, happy shows. No matter what mood you're in, you had to go and perform every day. What is the thing that you loved about this experience and hated about this experience?
Because you have to be on stage for a month every day of that month. One thing is though, like, firstly you start getting bored of your material on the 5th day itself.
That's what I was going to ask. Does it get monotonous or does it feel like boring also at the same time?
There's no break because you're like, and at some point the joke loses meaning. Like I started performing like a robot after some time. And so actually being in a good mood or a bad mood helped because it changed my performance a little bit. Like it added some emotion. And what I started doing as an experiment is I started leaning into whatever I was feeling. So if I was having a bad day because I was angry or I was tired or whatever, I started making my crowd work a little angry. Then I started doing the whole show a little angry. Like even the observational jokes, like I'm in therapy. Usually I go like I'm in therapy, but the day I was angry, I was like I'm in therapy, and they're like, okay, well we can see why you need it. But it really helped, like, because when you take a new emotion to the same 1 hour show, you find a new angle, you find a new joke. And it was fully like a boot camp. Actually, Sapan Biswa and I were at Fringe together. And every day in between our shows, there's the meadows. In between all of this, there is a nice park in the middle in Edinburgh. और वहाँ बैठते थे और हम रोज अपनी कहानी एक दूसरे को सुनाते कि आज मेरे साथ ये हुआ, आज तुम्हारे साथ ये हुआ, और फिर थोड़ा रोते थे, कुकी खाते थे और किसी और का शो देखने चले जाते थे. But very, very helpful. My stamina as a performer has increased. Like अभी मुझे कोई बोलेगा कि 5 shows करने हैं या 3 show करने हैं back to back, I'll be like, okay, let's do it. Like not even different days. मैं same दिन पे तो 3 show कर सकती हूँ. But like it's like going to the gym. Make me stronger.
And you've also included your 7th grade diary ka bits in it.
Yeah.
How did you find it and why did you think you wanted to include that?
That's a good question. And the only answer I can give for this is that I didn't have 20 minutes in the show when I had to leave. And I was like, what can I do? That's the quickest. So I went to get my diaries at my home in Navi Mumbai. And I've been writing diaries. I just want to check. Did you ever write journals?
No, hey, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I wrote a journal one time. I wrote about this boy that I really loved in 7th standard, and my mom read it. So since then, I have stopped writing anything. Anything I don't want my mom to know, I don't write it down anywhere. So even my love letters, I get it and I burn them. If I don't want my mother to see, because she doesn't understand.
That's so hard.
She doesn't understand the concept of privacy.
Yeah, I get it.
so-
They don't understand.
So diaries and journals for me, like even though I really wanted to write because I really like stationery stuff, so just buying journal and writing my thoughts,
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it.
From
because
whatever I know of you, I felt like you would enjoy journaling.
I enjoy, but I've experience is not.
Lack of privacy का कुछ नहीं कर सकते.
अरे मम्मी के साथ जीवन जीता थी.
यार नहीं मैं तो मैं बहुत अपनी डायरीज हाइड करती थी. मैंने बहुत लेयर्स ऑफ प्रिकॉशंस लिए.
Dude, मैंने कंबल के नीचे रखी, कंबल नहीं, मैट्रेस के नीचे छुपा के रखी थी. She will find my diary anywhere.
My main person who would read my diary was my sister, my older sister. She would read my diaries and then
Was she okay with it?
for a few years she would blackmail me. And then for a few years she was like ये क्या कर रही है and how do I intervene without letting her know कि इसकी लाइफ में क्या क्या चल रहा है. वो पढ़ रही है ना जो कहानी में let me know. But actually मेरे पास बहुत सारी डायरीज थी बचपन से तो because I was writing and to be fair मेरी मम्मी ने चलो पढ़ा लेकिन उतना after some time she left it. She was like, "ठीक है चलो, this is what she." And
couldn't take it.
I think she was like, you know what, I don't want to know because I'm gonna have to parent her ultimately. Like I'm gonna have to get into this, and she's up to something every day. So I went home and I was reading my diaries and I was like, okay, I have to fill 20 minutes of gap in this show. And I saw 2-3 stories in the diary. So I was like, maybe I just bring them out and read them because I do talk about my childhood, I do talk about therapy, and then I do like some one-line jokes. So I was like, diary se end kar dete hain. So I did that. And it was really fun.
You've done shows in Scotland.
Yes.
How does the political climate there affect the reception of your jokes?
Yeah.
Because let's say in India also in different regions, like when you talk about a sensitive topic, let's say about religion.
Yeah.
So what is it that, do you change your jokes when you, depending on where your show is?
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, what I have to change is maybe the tone in which I say it, right? Like, for example, religious jokes in India need a lot of disclaimers before you do it. And I don't really joke about religion. I joke more about how we use religion against each other. So that would be political probably, right? Like, so that would go into that would be like a political space. But you're right, the people will look at it as a religious joke. So मैं जब इंडिया में ये करती हूँ मैं बहुत सारे डिस्क्लेमर्स दे देती हूँ करने से पहले या आई मेक माई इंटेंट क्लियर या आई डू इट इनटू लाइक द 20 or 25th minute mark of my show so they know the type of person I am and where I'm coming from. Like, because if you open with it, they're like, why, what is she talking about? But if they have like 10 minutes, 15 minutes of knowing you, they're like, no, actually I think she means it in a good way. You know, like थोड़ा trust उनका earn करना पड़ता है. तो थोड़ा trust earn करके joke करना is usually the best way to go. So they don't misunderstand you. But Scotland में there is difference at what people will laugh and not laugh at. So in India, people are worried about laughing at religion, politics, and people who have power. They don't like it. They pull back. Audience pulls back. Audience is stressed. I don't think they're trying to be evil. I think they're worried. But in Scotland, they love jokes on power. तो punch up जितना करो वहाँ पे, they are happy with it. They're like, बोलो यार, तुम जिसके पास ज़्यादा power है, you should crap on them. Sometimes jokes work also, like sometimes you make jokes on people who have less power. Like, and that's usually not the best way to go about it. Like, that's a big debate in comedy. Like, it's थोड़ा morally dubious है ये, which I personally agree with, where I'm like, मुझे नहीं करना है joke on people who have less power. But having said that, there is an overarching understanding, I feel, in comedy that nothing is off limits. And I feel like, you know how we have freedom of speech? We're supposed to have freedom of speech. The understanding of that is that everything goes, right? Like, that's what freedom of speech is supposed to say. Uske andar there are bylaws, there are checks and balances. So even in comedy, I believe nothing is off limits. I genuinely do believe that for everybody else. Now, the checks and balances are what you place on yourself. And so that's where like your ethics come in place.
But you've also said that you're constantly like censoring things. You're constantly like and the levels of censorship have only increased
Yes.
over years.
Yes.
Can you give me an example of a joke that you've censored?
Oh my God.
Or like a whatever. Like
That won't make the cut.
I really want to know.
I'm thinking if there is an example of a joke I've censored is like, I wouldn't have even done it on stage. I could have thought it and I would have just cut it out of my mind, or I would have been like, ye to bol bhi nahi sakte. But the broad topics of stuff I've censored myself from would be mostly to talk about current events and like political current events. I would have been like, there's no need for this commentary क्योंकि इस हफ्ते कुछ हुआ है, अगले हफ्ते कुछ और हो जाएगा, and then I'll make a comment and then it'll just follow me for several months, but it'll be out of the news cycle. So I think maybe that would be the example. I've censored myself to the point where I can't even remember what I've censored.
You censored ऐसा कि बहुत ही ज़्यादा
मैंने अपने आप को क्या होता है वो गजनी में क्या है उसे शॉर्ट टर्म
memory loss.
मैंने अपने आप को मेमोरी लॉस दे दिया. मैं सेंसर करके भूल जाती हूँ. ये थॉट मुझे आया भी था ताकि I can live my life peacefully.
I get trolled a lot. And anything I say, like in interviews, I am taken out of context so many times and I'm trolled. There were videos of me because I said something and there are like baqaida reaction videos on it. So there's always lots of trolling. And especially for someone like you who's been, and I mean, there's always this thing about female comedians, right? And,
Yes.
and constantly like, the comments are not, funny nahi tha, ye nahi tha, wo nahi tha. How do you deal with that? Does that still affect you at this point? Like, I'm sure it must have in the beginning.
100%.
Yes.
Fully. Now, I would like to say, with no sadness, I am dead inside. Like, in a very good way. Like, I don't know. It's like a power.
You've been numb to the hate and the trolling and stuff, and you're paying. I think that's what you're trying to say, that you're paying attention just to the love and the appreciation that you're getting.
Correct. You're absolutely right. And also, beyond a point, you know, Abhi, I'm sure you said you also get trolled and they take you out of context. First things first, most people don't like when girls are doing well, okay? And that includes a huge section of men who feel, they look at you and they're like, why is SRs doing well? I should be doing well. Then go out there, you go act, you give auditions, you do well, right? Secondly, you are attractive. So if you have an opinion, it's something about men seeing an attractive woman give an opinion, they want to say you're dumb. No matter what happens, they want to prove. And you're like, you know, and I've thought in my case, I've been like, maybe I am, but तुम भी होगे भाई, आप बस कैमरा के सामने नहीं बोलो, right? That's the only thing. So you can mess up. Like, I thought actually I have jokes about how dumb I am, which is part of my act. But I am, and I fully embraced it. This is me. This is about me. So that doesn't hurt me. The second thing is also that when you have heard every comment under the sun after some time, you visit the profile. In your mind also, you have categories of people who are commenting. You're like, this person's life is like this, so they are upset with me. This person's life is like this, so they're upset with me. This person is from this background, so obviously I'm bothering them. So that's also part of it. But mainly, I think beyond a point, what also gives me solidarity and is sad is that I know you are also being trolled. I am also being trolled. My friend Prashasti is being trolled. My friend Supriya is being trolled. So I'm like, oh, I'm not even special. Like, they are doing this to all of us.
It's not me, it's them. Exactly, because they've been doing this to everyone. I love this approach that they are doing this to everyone, and I also like the fact that cancel culture and trolling culture dies down very quickly. ये मैंने notice किया है. It stays for a few weeks and then people forget about it because then they're on to another one. Onto another girl or a person and trolling them.
The hate cycle is just like that national crush cycle. They like national crush is really changing every week. And then at some point they hate the last national crush also. I'm like, you loved her last week. Now you are finding flaws in her. It's such a fickle system. The love or hate cycle is just...
You have mentioned taking your therapist to tour with you. Yes, you've said that you sometimes want her to sit in the front row and come and give you a hug.
I would be really nervous if she came. I wouldn't mind actually. I think maybe she would be proud of me.
But have you taken like some inspiration from whatever she said in your set? Like, have you incorporated those bits? Like, bits from your therapy session?
Yeah, for sure. There's like a big chunk that's just about therapy. And it's like, basically I've made it about one therapist, but it's a mix of all the therapists. Like, I've tried over and over to find like the right therapist. So I sabka mila ke, I've made it about one person because it's easier to keep up that way. But I have fully incorporated everything like my therapists have said, and it has become a full bit of its own. And it's great. Like, I really got it out of my system. Now I just go to therapy and I'm like, okay, I don't need to talk about it anymore. I've done it on stage. Do you go to therapy
Yes,
also?
I very recently started. It's nice only. Like I think it's helped me out a lot. I was very scared of it for the longest time because I don't like to talk about my feelings out loud. Like I'm someone who's leave me alone, I'll deal with it.
Okay.
But like I was encouraged by my friend and like you should go. It basically the first few you need to like understand it. They ask you so many questions, so when you're answering them, you figure it out on your own, like what your problem is or where you're going. So I think that has really helped me, like talking about it. So like what I was really afraid of, like not talking out loud about my feelings, that's exactly what I did with therapy, and that's really helped me out. According to you, I'm going to quote you exactly. Comedy is painful till you find the funniest way to talk about something difficult on stage. Then when it starts getting laughs and when you start making money off your pain is when you really start to get over it.
Wow, I said this.
Brave.
Yes. Wow, I say so much stuff all the time. I agree with this version of me who said this. Because I think I wait till I've processed some of my feelings before I start talking about it on stage. But sometimes I have spoken about things too early while I'm on stage. To really control my emotions. And it's not fun for anyone. Right. Audience is also like, babe, you really want to talk about this with us right now?
How do you look after your own mental health when it comes to all of this? Like, I know you go to therapy.
Yes.
But
talk to my friends. Think about myself. Give it some time. So, for example, if I have hurt my arm now, and I will fully talk about this on stage at some point, I would take like maybe a month or two to like just process. This actually doesn't require that much processing, but it's a bad example, but it is the example. So I'll take a month or two to like think about it and process it. And when I'm actually talking to people, I start making jokes about it. And that's when I'm like, it's ready. It's time to bring it out in front of strangers. Then after a few open mics, I'm like, oh yeah, strangers also enjoying. And then when I go on tour, I'm like, I don't even feel anything about this thing that I was talking, because you've spoken about it so much. And then I make the money and I feel very happy. So I'm like, good cycle.
love it.
Yeah.
I'm actually like quite in love with you right now. I thought you just...
Pain to rupees cycle. so it's lovely.
You said as a comedian, you should process your feelings off stage
Yes.
before bringing them into your act.
Yes.
How do you balance processing your feelings versus writing your material?
Making sure I've like spoken to my friends and my therapist, and then I would like try it on stage, and then I would know. I would have given it enough time. सबका timeline अलग होता है वैसे. I think I love to talk about my feelings, Ehsaas. Like it's a... Your name is Ehsaas, no? Wow. Yeah, I said
Feelings,
like,
hey.
hey, it's kind of ironic that you can't process your feelings. It's actually, maybe this is your journey. No, I read somewhere about like how your name shapes the kind of person you also become. And like...
It's actually, Ehsaas also means realization. So a lot of people think it's feelings, but it's also realization
It's also
at the same
realization.
time. It's not feeling होता है महसूस करना.
Oh, your name is Realization.
My name is actually realization.
You might become a very wise... Maybe you already are. Be a wise
No, I
person.
can be wiser.
Okay.
Promise.
Same.
I'm trying.
Me too.
There was this one thing that you said, that it is easier to be a clown than a human being.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
I think it's easier to joke about my feelings and be entertaining than, like you said, be vulnerable. Just like you have trouble like expressing your feelings because you're like, leave me alone, I'll deal with it. Maybe in some ways you take that emotion when you go on screen and then you perform. Like, do you draw from your own feelings? I don't know what your process is.
Absolutely.
Right?
I put myself into that situation, whatever it is. If it's a panic scene, I actually think of everything. I think about my traumas and I put like, what do I do when I'm actually panicking? So yeah, that's exactly what I do.
Yeah, and see, so that is you doing what I do with jokes. But that doesn't mean you've dealt with it, right? Like, just because you are able to use it as fuel for your performance, and just because I'm able to use it as fuel for my jokes, But that's still with you. That's still your trauma, and it's like it's still your pain, and you still have to deal with it. It's just that we're using it as like some sort of like engine oil for. Is it engine oil? I don't know. We're using it as whatever petrol. हमारी गाड़ी आगे भगाने के लिए. लेकिन that's what I think. कि it's easier to be a clown, and it's easier to fool yourself कि you've dealt with it when you make jokes about something, whatever it is that's hurting you, and be like, so I find it easier to be a clown about my feelings and make jokes and make everyone think it's okay than to be a person. And being a person means just dropping that facade and being like, okay, now I have to feel my feelings and I have to talk about it genuinely, and I have to people look at me sometimes with pity in their eyes or with concern and not be offended. So that's what is hard. Like, yeah. Yeah.
I had such a lovely time talking to you. I was constantly smiling. You're such a warm person. And you're actually my first guest ever.
Yay!
And I'm so happy. I was at ease. I was a bit nervous, but you've like you're somebody who puts everyone at ease.
Thank you
such a
so much.
wonderful-
You are the first person to interview me in video form like this. And like a full long hour podcast. Yeah.
But
Like
I think we
this.
should hang out also now
I
at
really
this
think
point.
so
Like I
too.
really feel like we should just like not do this in front of camera and just
Yeah, and I know I said some stuff off camera, but I want to say it again, and I'm just repeating myself. But like I've followed your work since you were little. I follow you now also, and I think you're amazing because your work ethic is incredible. I know you like read and you inhale books. You come across as a sensitive and empathetic person on the internet, and I was looking forward to meet you, and I'm glad I did.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Stop it. I'm so happy. We have to do this. We have to hang out. We have to be
Yes.
friends forever, okay?
We should share our playlist.
Yeah. I'm going to make her a playlist.
Our Swiftie playlist.
Yeah, our Swiftie playlist. We both are Swifties also.
Yeah,
like
we're
we bought
Swifties.
it. That's the first thing. So thank you so much,
Thank
Urush, for
you.
doing this with an injury. You still made it here and you had this conversation with me.
Thank you.
so
I'm
much.
on drugs.